But yeah, crack a cold one and
You're driving me to drink.
already. Yep. It's game 4 of the season. Okay. Well, Mark, let us know your thoughts first, then I'll get to mine, because I actually might be a little bit more positive than you seem to be.
Yeah, initial heartbreak. I'm still not. I was so pumped. I was texting you guys going, wow, I love 3-on-3. This is my favorite. It's so fun. To here we go again. Here's a loss. 1 point. Yeah.
So are you like, what would you rank in terms of devastating to pleased? Pleased being 10, devastated being 1.
If I just wait like 1 more hour, I already know I'm gonna look back and be like, this was actually a good game. But so not very devastating. What is it? 1's the most devastating?
Yeah, 1 is devastated. 10
I'll
is...
give it a 6.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they still got it. We still got a point out of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm going to go with an 8.
Okay.
And because that was legit the best game I've seen the Leafs play since I can remember. And it honestly was like every single player on that team was playing like it was the playoffs. And I don't know if the Rangers are bad or if they had a bad game or if the Leafs were just that good. Regardless, it just looked like every single person was like putting their body on the line, skating hard. Like no one took a shift off. If I had to make like one little criticism, it would be that like Richie still doesn't look like he's really keeping up to that first line. But that'll just take time to gel and he'll have to figure out the places that he needs to be, right? It was their first game all playing together as a line.
Yeah.
But even the defense looked, they shut it down when Campbell needed to be solid.
Defense was amazing.
Good. Nylander is just, that guy's awesome. And he's just playing like, I don't know, he just seems like he's matured even more this year because he just seems like a veteran. I don't know if you can really like, it's just a feeling, you know, like when you watch Ovechkin or someone like that, you're just like, this guy's a veteran. And like now watching Nylander, it feels like he is just like that much more mature and willing to like put his body on the line, which is something that even though he's so skilled, you haven't really seen for the last few years.
Yeah, he took his game to the next level in every single game so far this year. I just keep becoming more and more impressed. Mm-hmm. But I want your take on this, but one guy who hasn't taken his game to the next level, I think, is Mitch Marner.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't looked good.
So I think Mitch Marner hasn't looked elite, but he's looked fine. But you need to, if you're making $11 million a year, you need to look elite. But yeah. I'm not concerned yet.
Just a little slump.
Just a little slump. And like I said, like he's never really played with Richie before, other than preseason. And it was Matthews' first game back. And they couldn't really work out together, train together in the off season.
Yeah.
Just because of Matthews' injury. So it'll take some time. Like as elite as they both are, Tavares and Matthews are very different players. So Marner has to like really switch his game around to fit with each person. Now, once again, if you're making $11 million, you should be able to fit with Pierre Engvall. But maybe I'm just making a little bit more excuses, but he hasn't been bad, but anything less than elite makes him look bad.
Yeah, that's true. Because he hasn't been terrible, just not living up to his
what he can
be making this year. Yeah,
and what we all know he can be. But like, man, that third line. I wanted to mention Kerfoot. That was the best game I've ever seen him play as a Leaf, especially in the second period. When in second period, there's a couple shifts where it was just like he was cycling it all by himself. He was like creating like fast turnarounds in the cycle, which Kerfoot, just on an eye test, his cycle game has never been the best. Mm-hmm. But like playing on the line with those two guys who are more defensively oriented, maybe he feels like he can be a little bit more risky instead of having to be that stand back the third guy center in the past. So maybe that was it, but he looked awesome. Michael Bunting looked amazing again. Like it
Yeah.
just he never takes a shift off, and you can tell that he just looks pissed all the
Oh
time,
yeah. I
pissed or
saw a couple
happy.
little slashes when the
Yeah,
lefts weren't looking, and
yeah.
I love that. Got him
Even his goal was like just really indicative of who he
run
is
the
as a
goal in.
player. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I don't. We lost a point,
Yeah.
but I think after the game, I'm sure Keefe wouldn't have even been mad at the guys. It would have just been like, we just faced a elite playing goalie tonight.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. He was
like
on fire. Everything
yeah,
went his way.
and that's every time we play the Rangers. It seems, it was Gorgiev 2 years ago, and I remember that it was like a 50-shot game or something, and he just like stonewalled the Leafs. And before that, Lundqvist always had our number as well. So it's just something about the Rangers. And they were mentioning in the game that the Leafs have like 260 shot attempts and 8 goals, so maybe 9 goals now.
Okay.
So that's a very low shooting percentage. And
Yeah.
the fact that the Leafs are 2-1-1 after having a very low shooting percentage is good news, because you're going to go through slumps. Last year and the year before, when they had a very low shooting percentage, they would lose
Mhm.
games. Now they're over 500. So there's like mini victories, because they're not going to shoot like that. They're not going to face goalies like that every game, right?
Yeah.
You have a game like that against an average goalie, you're putting in 5 or 6.
And like I could be completely wrong, but I feel like we're not even taking like crappy like from the point shots that like ramp up that shot total. Like they're good in the paint shots that they're gonna go in like at some point.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just like very optimistic, because if we're playing like this in game 4 of the season,
Yeah.
like, especially because we're notorious for having poor Octobers, if we can play like this for the rest of the year and then carry it into the playoffs, this is the type of team that I actually think can do some damage. And I say that every year, but this is the one. I think this year I don't remember them playing like that ever really last year, except for Winnipeg.
This year and like this game kind of more specifically, I was excited that the fourth line was out because they were generating like so much offense and chaos.
Yeah.
And a guy who I didn't even want to make the team, Pierre Engvall, I was like, he's playing pretty well. Like, he didn't get any points or anything, but like he was out there hitting people and hitting the puck off guys with his 8-foot long stick. And
he's still one of those guys that you never really feel like you trust when he has the puck, but then somehow he'll still make good decisions with it. It's just like he looks like he's going to make mistakes, but then he doesn't.
He looks clunky.
He just looks like super clumsy and stuff, and he'll like poke out and then somehow to end up on his stick again. It's like, what? And Spezza, man, that 2 rushes he just made on the same shifts back to back. So if this guy isn't the Tom Brady of hockey playing until he's 55 years old, I don't know who is.
Yeah. Usually you think, oh, this guy is slow and old now, but he had legs out there.
Yeah. And just confidence, because the first time on the first rush he did there, he had like 4 guys with him, and you're just like, nah, I'm going to shoot it. He shoots it. And then the second time he does the exact same thing. And you would think like a younger guy would be like, okay, well, I held onto the puck last time, I should dish it off to some of the other guys. He's like, no, I'm going for it again. It's just like, what a boss. Yeah. Everyone's favorite player.
Hands down.
Yeah. What do you think of Matthews' first game back?
He showed flashes of his like how he always is. He just couldn't bury it. Unfortunately, in that overtime, oh my god, a wide open net, and he like hesitated, and then he shot, and then there was a big rebound. He couldn't get his stick on it. That would have been the perfect comeback.
I know. Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see. I know there's a few days before they play a game, but it'll be really interesting to see how they come out and play in their next one, because you're going to get games like that in the playoffs where you dominate a team. It happened last year in Montreal where you dominate a team and then they just score a goal and they beat you somehow. And what's going to be important to see is like how you respond to that. Like, do you go out and put in the same amount of effort, not get discouraged and just be like, we should have won this game if we keep playing like this? Or are you going to woe is me kind of thing last year and just give up? Because it was the game 6 one, where they came out in the overtime and they just dominated shots like 13-1. McDermott just had a stupid giveaway and they scored. And then the next game they came out and didn't look like they give a fuck. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond.
Without that whole third period today, I just kept thinking to myself, like, Campbell hasn't faced any shots. They're going to come down and get a stupid goal, but they didn't. And he was unreal until that last shot.
Well, I as soon as I just saw people cheering, I slammed down my laptop. So I didn't even get to watch a replay of the shot. So I don't know if it was a good or bad goal, but
it was really good. It was just top left corner.
Okay. So
no one could see it.
One of those ones that he couldn't do much on.
Yeah, and it was Panarin's first goal, and he was celebrating like he won the cup, and it was awful.
After this
jumped
game,
like 5 feet in the air.
My prediction of the Rangers making the playoffs, no, there was nothing that impressed me about this team tonight. Panarin, I hardly noticed. Lafreniere I noticed on one rush, and then he gave the puck away. Adam Fox, I noticed on the power play, and that was about it. And then the rest of the team just didn't do it. And
great.
I know if anyone's watching this and isn't a Leaf fans, would be like, oh, Leaf fans always blame the refs. But how fucking stupid were some of those calls, and then just ignoring other blatant calls?
So many trips gone unnoticed. And then a little
penalty. Well, they had to even it out somehow, right? So it was just. And then even the ref is right there watching the player put his hand on the, like, he's right there.
Yeah, he just dropped it and then he flicked it with his hand.
Would have been game. It would have been a 5-on-3. Now, granted, the Leafs can't score in 5-on-3s, but who knows? They might have. Another thing. I know that we didn't score in the power play, but how good did that power play look?
It was in the offensive zone the whole time.
Yeah.
And they cleared it out. And I don't want to jinx it because they might bring it back, but no drop back.
There was one, I think it was Riley. He just turned straight around and just passed it back, but it wasn't a drop back pass. He didn't do the between the legs. He turned around and switched it up.
Was that one of the assistant coaches that got fired? Like, that's why they don't do it anymore? Or did they just decide that was so stupid?
They had done it under 2 separate assistant coaches. And then we have a new one now, and we aren't doing it. So who knows? Maybe we just didn't notice it as much because we started in their zone and kept winning draws. I don't think there was one draw we lost on the power play, so maybe we just didn't notice much.
Even if they cleared it and then we'd bring it back in, like, they didn't do it.
Okay, well, let's hope. Yeah, let's hope that's the case. And I love how they kept all the boys out for the entire 2 minutes. Like, there wasn't that, like, okay, you got to be fair, let's let the other guys get out for 50 seconds. It was like, no, we're staying on. Our top 5 players who could be first line players anywhere in the league are staying on for the entire 2 minutes. And it just didn't work out tonight. So I think that's the motto of this, is it just didn't work out tonight, but there's a lot of good things to take away.
And they did try the Matthews, Tavares, Nylander line with like 2 minutes left in the game. And I was like, oh, thank you. I love this line.
Well, what they did, for the first time, they put out Marner, Matthews, Nylander. And then the next time they put out Tavares, Matthews, Nylander.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I like when they kind of experiment a little bit like that. I'm still not completely sold on Richie up there, but you got to give him time, because the other thing too is, like, who's going to replace him? Now, if Kerfoot keeps playing like that, Kerfoot can replace him. But also that third line was like shut down. And I know you mentioned that Kasha hasn't been looking that good.
Yeah, my initial thoughts was, this guy is sucking.
Yeah, he's just I think he's just adapting to a role, which is playing a defensive role.
Yeah.
Which is what you need out of that line.
Yeah, because he was like throwing his body around and blocking stuff, which I liked. So
Yeah. And it'll
Yeah.
just take one. Like he had a few chances the last couple of games, like pretty
Yeah.
good chances. It'll be a lot of guys need to break out of a slump within the next couple of games. Do you have any bold predictions on who that's going to be?
What's our next game and when?
Oh, geez.
I can't even think. I think we have a bit of a break now.
Yeah, it's on Friday against the Sharks.
Oh, that's a perfect one for someone to come back and
Yeah.
I think Mitch is gonna have like a goal to assist game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not bold, but like he's coming back.
All right. I'm going with the super easy one and saying that Matthews gets a goal.
Just one goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I also think that Richie's going to put one in.
Okay.
So
Nice.
those are my predictions, and I say that we win both games on the weekend between the Sharks and the Penguins back to back nights.
Oh.
Penguins have started out good, but no
Yep.
Crosby, no Malkin.
I thought that too until they win by like 5 or 6 goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We always seem to have a tough one.
Saturday could be a tough pod.
Yeah, oh yeah, and we're gonna have all the boys back together, all the lads back together. Finally, just update on Din. His internet sucks.
Gets home and his internet's gone basically.
Yeah, so he's having to vent by himself. But hopefully, our venting makes you feel better. Whoever's watching, it makes us feel better.
Yeah.
And who knows when the first video is going to be that we get real pissed off.
Ooh.
That'll be interesting because I came into this being like, it happens. We got a point, but I wasn't like,
still not
these guys
yet.
fucking suck. But there will be a time. There will be a time. Okay,
Yeah.
over under on 2 weeks on that video.
Probably over. It'd probably be about mid-season, and if they
All right.
like get into a losing streak, and then I'll be like,
All right,
fuck this team.
I'll go with the over too because we're
Yeah.
All right,
It's
well
too
that's
early.
it. That's it for us. We're gonna have a bigger podcast that we'll be releasing in sections on YouTube, and then we're still releasing all of these podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So
Mhm.
peace out, subscribe, comment, like us. Yeah, that's it.